Do you ever wake up and not feel okay? Do you ever feel out of place? Do you ever feel confused? Do you ever feel conflicted? And that's really where we're at. It's like the thought, because it all starts with thought. And that's where creating greatness really starts. And then the last thing I'll say on this is just the importance of reflection. That's how you figure stuff out. Now, it's a balance between obsessing over the past, because I can be guilty of that as well. I think a lot of us can. You can't dwell on the past. You do not own your past. You are not your past, but the past is a learning experience. It's something, to gain that experience, to move forward with. And sometimes to make sure you're getting the lessons that's needed out of your past, you do have to reflect a little. You do have to go into it a little bit, go over conversations, go over your actions, go over your behaviors. Maybe what was I thinking when I was doing that? How was I feeling? What happened before that? All those questions that you ask yourself usually help you get to the root cause of what you didn't like or what happened that was unacceptable. And that helps you avoid those things in the future. Once again, another tenet and fundamental of Creating Greatness podcast. But this one here is like really the whole reason, I think, subconsciously, that I started this show. And maybe I've never articulated it. Maybe I've never stated it. Maybe I've never even consciously realized it until I was doing the reflection before this show, so I could figure out how I really wanted to address the people and what I wanted to convey to them and how I wanted to narrow the scope of who my target audience really is. So reflecting upon that, I remember I was in a halfway house. It's in a halfway house, and they forced us to do meetings and all these different things. And sometimes we would get lucky, and it wouldn't be a boring meeting. It would be someone who actually had some value. And they used to bring in this guy. I can't remember his name. Maybe would have remembered his name if he could answer my question. But nevertheless, he was a great speaker. And he came and he talked about a lot of things. And one of the things he talked about was like books from Napoleon Hill, How to Think and Grow Rich, and some others that he read and had got a lot of knowledge out of that helped him out of the same deep, dark hole that a lot of us were in there in that halfway house. One of the things that continued to come up was, you got to change your thinking. You got to change your thinking. You got to change your thinking. I thought that was a really cool concept. I also agreed with him that that was probably the way out of that deep, dark hole that we were all in. So I raised my hand. I said, sir, I agree with you. We got to change our thinking. How do we do it? And I'll never forget the silence in that room. The silence from him, the silence from everyone in there, the counselors and the inmates alike. Because nobody knew how to answer that question. I figured it out, man. I figured it out on my own, And really the answer is just meditation. It's just one answer, one word in, meditation. Because what meditation is going to do is it's just going to settle you down. It's going to prioritize your thoughts. It's going to eliminate the ones that are distracting. And you'll still have all those things, but you'll be synchronized. You'll be synchronized with the universe. You'll be synchronized with yourself. You'll be synchronized with your purpose, so that like what doesn't matter thought-wise will fall away. At the very least, you'll acknowledge it, that it's not beneficial to your best well-being, and you'll be able to get rid of it. And you'll be able to attach energy and effort to the ones that are beneficial to your well-being. And that's really the process right there. It's the whole process. What do I think? Why do I think it? When I do think bad, shut it down. When I think good, elevate it. And that's it. And it's all day long, especially if you have a race in mind, like a lot of ex-addicts, a lot of ex-criminals, a lot of people in general now today. Maybe, they're going to the doctor for it and they're taking medication is going to make it worse. Any little bit of progress you see in the field of pharmaceuticals is short-lived, and it also is going to just bring up another bunch of problems. So even if you solve the first one, now you got 5 more. So it's best we handle these problems, issues, just phenomenons of life like anxiety or emotions in a natural way. Meditation's been huge. Nature's huge. Viewing the sunset, sunrise is huge. Just not even just the benefits for your eyes when you're viewing the sunset and sunrise, obviously not staring directly into the sun and setting your circadian rhythm, getting the vitamin stream through your eyes, because a lot of vitamins from the sun, including vitamin D, are absorbed through their eyes. But uh, if you pay attention to it, you'll slow down, you'll feel the breeze, you'll take some deep breaths, you'll hear the birds singing. You may hear the bees buzzing. You'll hear different things throughout nature if you don't live in a city. But even if you live in a city, because even around here where I live in the suburbs, sometimes the man-made sounds enter my consciousness, and I just go, well, that's human noise. There's birds noise, there's wind and earth noise. Maybe the water is pretty close by, and if it's rough, I can hear that a little bit. Definitely smell the salt. And if there's hammering or mowing lawn or a human conversation, then that's human noise, and it's all okay. It's all okay, because I can definitely tend to, the human noise is bad and the nature is good, and then I'm thrown off my meditation or my relaxation, my destimulation, really, and I'm judging things now. That's bad. That's good. Oh, why don't they be quiet? Because very easily the mind could do that, and that's what we have to watch. And that's why it's, once again, back to thoughts. What's conducive to best self, what's degrading to best self, and just behaving that way. And then the thing is, there's going to be times where we know the thing's not beneficial to our well-being. We know that the right path is something that's beneficial to our well-being. Maybe we consciously decide to do the other, you know? And I mean, it's part of living life and it's part of experience. There's times where I still want to eat pizza and I do eat pizza. There's times where I want to have a dessert and I do have a dessert. There's times where I still want a caffeinated beverage and I have a caffeinated beverage. There's times where I want to watch a violent movie and I watch a violent movie. Or I watch something that maybe not conducive to my best self. But that's your conscious decision. And that's the difference between doing things out of like impulse. I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm going to eat, I'm annoyed, I'm going to distract myself with this nonsense.